Most creators think that making money online means you need to have a big audience or a lot of time. In reality, the only thing standing between you and $5,000 per month is something so simple that you could have it by the end of the day. And that is a proper strategy. At Kajabi, we've helped over 60,000 content creators turn their audience into a thriving business. Every day, our creators earn a combined total of $5 million on our platform. I've seen what works and what doesn't 100 times over. You have the time and the money to make better content, to scale your business even further, or just to enjoy your newfound freedom. But without a strategy, you're gonna be glued to your screen day and night, trying to work out why no one is buying. So let's talk about how to create your own monetization strategy so that you can make $5,000 a month while still having time to enjoy it. The first strategy is one that many people try, but most people get wrong. They either don't make something their audience actually wants, or they're just in the wrong niche without realizing it. This kills their sales. Maybe they get a few when they launch, but they quickly drop off. I'll show you exactly how you can avoid these two classic mistakes, whether or not this strategy is right for you. An informational product is an online course, paid podcast, paid newsletter, or even a webinar. The downside to these products is kind of the upside also, and that is the upfront work that you've got to do before you start selling. Even with a paid podcast or newsletter, getting a month's worth of episodes done in a few days can be stressful. But once you're done, it doesn't matter how many people buy, you could just kick back with a martini and watch the internet print money for you. But is it really that simple? Yes and no. You absolutely don't have to be a world-class expert to sell something that your audience needs. You just need to have a specialized skill. And the more niche, the better. But when the market for information products is saturated, how do you stand out? Well, not only is my solution simple, it could also be the difference between charging $700 and $5,000. To start off, let's think about the reason why your audience might want to buy something. It might simply be that they have a practical need, like learning DIY to help do up their new house. But usually, this practicality masks something deeper. They probably want to learn DIY to save money hiring a builder, right? So it's likely that they also don't want to spend a ton of cash on new tools. Now, the product is about more than learning the skills. It's about the perceived financial benefits too. Or, okay, forget money for a sec. What if it's actually the emotional satisfaction of learning a new skill that motivates them? They might be okay with spending more on tools if it means that they can take up DIY as a hobby. In either case, your offer not only changes, but it becomes hyper-specific. Your new course goes from DIY 101 to DIY your entire house for under $1,000. Or Crafting Joy, the art of DIY happiness. An offer stands out when it promises a highly specific transformation. Without one, your product is going to get lost in the noise. But if you can make your offer ultra-specific, you're no longer competing with average Joes trying to sell everything to everyone. And that means that you can charge way more. For example, most YouTube courses that promise more views won't charge the highest rates because more views isn't a specific transformation. But just look at the premium stuff, like Ali Abdaal's part-time YouTuber Academy, where the offer promises something deeper. You'll save a ton of time. You'll avoid making a bunch of frustrating mistakes. Tackle the right problem, and you don't need a big audience to make a lot of money. But then, what problem should you pick? First, let's talk about macro and micro problems. Macro problems are usually pretty easy to spot. Maybe your audience is a bunch of YouTubers who want to nail the editing basics, so you make a course called Editing 101. Problem is, macro courses are also massive in scope. So while they might have a broad appeal, they're harder to make because of how much stuff you'll have to put in. Mini courses, on the other hand, are much smaller in scope because they target something extremely specific. You might have figured out that your audience of guitar players really struggle with the fretboard, so a course called Fretboard Mastery would be perfect. And like I said, if you're going super niche, it's unlikely that you're gonna have many competitors. Now the problem is, identifying micro problems is so much harder. So how do you do it? Before I tell you, be sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel if you want to keep learning the simple strategies to monetize even a small audience. So How do we identify micro problems? Well, mining your own life for pain points that you have experienced is a really good place to start. Is there something specific that you've struggled with in the past, or a product that you wish existed but you couldn't find? Thinking like this will set you on the right path. But you don't need to figure this out alone. Because even with a small audience, you can start asking them about their problems right now. Do you struggle to target particular muscle groups with at-home workouts? What's the hardest part of the technical side of photography? What is your dog's most bizarre habit that you wish you could fix? Okay, no, I'm joking, of course. Dogs are weird, and that is okay. So post a poll on YouTube or your community, send an email blast to your subscribers, something like that, anything. It's much easier to build the right product when you're no longer guessing what your audience wants. What if you're not an expert in your field? What if your skill is connecting people? This one doesn't require any upfront work, and you can literally start making money from this today. It's called creating a membership community. But there's a key mistake that people make when setting one up. And once you've made that mistake, you can't ever fix it. But before I explain that, you need to understand if starting an online community is even the right choice. Membership communities are ideal for creators with small but dedicated audiences, the type who comment on every video you release. And you can make some good money here. YouTube educator Film Booth charges $1,200 per year for his community. But another company that we're going to talk about in a minute charges almost 10 times that much per head. The secret is more is not better here. If your community is watered down by people who don't engage properly, no one will stick around. A paid community lives and dies by how engaged its members are. So then, how do you keep your members engaged? Well, I'm going to come back to that too. But first, I want to tell you why a paid community, when done right, can basically put your business growth on autopilot. Communities have one thing going for them that no other strategy has. They act like multipliers. See, membership communities benefit from what's called network effects. When people come together in a group, they build relationships with each other and with you. Once someone joins your community, not only are they now way more likely to buy the other things that you sell, but they're also more likely to encourage their peers to join as well. Kajabi's community features make building a community incredibly easy. Don't get me wrong, okay? Free platforms like Discord are a great way to get started and test the waters. But Kajabi lets you post your other products into the community for everyone to see, along with other features like leaderboards, which incentivize engagement. All of this means more sales for you. But whatever platform you pick, the problem still remains. How do you keep your community engaged? There are a couple of things that we can do here. One of these is super simple and could multiply your revenue by 5 times overnight. First though, you'll need to figure out something critical. In a nutshell, put simply, people need to know why your community exists. If they can't easily recognize who it's for and the value they'll get out of it, then what is the point of them joining? To have an engaged community, you need a culture and a mission. And this comes from the groundwork that we talked about earlier, in getting to know who your audience is. The second is even simpler, and that is raising the cost. Whatever figure you've got in your mind about how much to charge, it's probably too low. If your community costs $5 per month, you might get 100 people who join and then forget about it. If it costs $50 per month, then it's no longer a snap purchase. If they're willing to pay more, they're probably more serious about it and more likely to engage. To join Hampton, for example, costs $10,000 per year. Bear in mind that the pricing of your community needs to match the value it generates. And the reason why Hampton members are willing to pay so much is that they are likely to do business deals that are worth far more. That being said, charging as much as you reasonably can for your online community is always a good idea, because you'll only need 1/10 as many members to make the exact same amount of money. If you're more of a lone wolf with a builder mindset, this next strategy might be for you. It is the hardest one to pull off, but it can also make you the most money if you do it right. This is where a lot of the really big fish make their money. But that doesn't mean that you can't also compete. With fierce competition, though, you'll need to make sure that you're providing real value. And this is a problem we see all the time at Kajabi. So we've put together something special to help you with it, but more on that later. This strategy is selling a digital product. It could be software, like an app or a plugin, or it could be a template, something for Notion or Adobe Lightroom. What you choose to build depends heavily on your niche. For example, you might create a daily habit tracker in Notion if you're in the productivity or fitness space. If your audience often uses a certain software, maybe you could improve it by selling them a custom plugin. Digital products are kind of like information products on steroids. With so much variety, you can make something very unique and extremely practical. Some digital products, like software, also give you the opportunity to charge a monthly subscription fee, and these are some of the best types of businesses. Recurring revenue makes growth easier because it compounds, but you don't want to put a bunch of time and effort into something only to come up empty-handed when no one buys it, right? Here's the thing. You don't have to build the perfect product right away. In fact, you can validate the idea while you're still building it. For example, YouTube plugins like 1of10 and Subscriber started out offering their products for free in exchange for early feedback from their users. Digital products will take time to build, which is why it's totally legit to start out with MVP. It's your minimum viable product, iterate over time, and then bump up the price when it's ready. But you still don't want to waste your time, right? It feels scary to put any work into something that might not hit home with your audience. That's why we put together an idea validation worksheet. By filling it out, you'll be ahead of 90% of product creators. And you can be sure that your product will find an audience and a market and fulfill a need. And you can grab that for free with the link in the description. I understand that all of this might sound daunting. You're not sure what product to build or what people will buy. Maybe you can't actually afford to invest a ton of money or time into getting started. If that's the case, this last strategy is gonna be the one for you. Like a community, you can start selling this tomorrow. And the kicker is, it's probably going to give you some of that precious time back. So, if you're a smaller content creator or you're new to monetizing, I'll explain exactly why you should pick this one. This strategy is selling a productized service, like coaching, consulting, or doing specific work, say SEO optimization or graphic design. Productized means that you sell the exact same service to everyone, which allows you to scale it. Typical service businesses will offer custom packages, but these can really complicate the sales process. They usually involve a lengthy pitching process that costs time and money, and the scope creep that arises from continually reinventing the offer will eventually start to impact your ROI. But with productized service, you sell a standard package. No ifs, no buts, you show them the offer, and if they like it, they take it, and if not, they leave it. By setting up repeatable processes and systems, it becomes way easier to calculate the return on investment per client. You might have a piece of software you use to save time, onboarding forms that boost the efficiency of your process, or even a specific freelancer you outsource a part of every project to. The point is, there are no surprises. But how much can you actually make from this? Well, here's the thing. With productized service, you're usually going to be selling B2B rather than B2C. And what do businesses have a lot more of than regular customers? That's right, branded pens. But also, money. And that's why this strategy is probably the most efficient for getting you to your $5,000 per month target. Say you're selling SEO optimization to medium-sized businesses. You could easily be pulling in $2,000 to $15,000 per client per month. All of a sudden, you don't need to spread yourself thin, trying to sell to hundreds of customers. Once solopreneur and Kajabi creator Justin Welsh found his ideal customers back in 2021, he doubled his prices and halved how much he worked. And that's the key. Once you've nailed your target customer, offering a productized service is the best way to make good money while ensuring that you still have the time to enjoy it. You can literally be hitting your $5,000 a month target with just one client, and who wouldn't want that? So if you've decided on a monetization strategy, it's time to put that into action. If you value your time, you need to take the fastest, easiest approach to start selling. And that's why we built Kajabi, to help creators succeed. We've got all of the tools you need to put any of these strategies into action. And you can sign up for a free trial with the link below.